This is David with High Performance Stoicism. I want to talk to you about a Stoic reading program. Many people come to me and say, David, I've heard a lot about Stoicism, or David, I've heard you talk about Stoicism. Where should I get started? What should I read? Well, a natural answer to this question is find something that is interesting to you. What are you curious about? Was there a Marcus Aurelius quote that you thought was really fascinating? Did you hear something about Epictetus that intrigued you? Well, there's definitely something to this approach because the way people get the most reading done and the best reading is through inclination. But there's one little problem with this approach of just reading as you feel like it, and that is in order to really understand Marcus Aurelius, in order to understand Epictetus, there's some information you have to know that's not in any of their books, but that's important to Stoicism. And I think you should check it out for itself. And the main thing I'm talking about is the writing of the original Stoics, way back in ancient Athens, before the Roman Stoics were even alive, hundreds of years before. So, by giving you this program, here's a couple things that I will tell you. One thing that you should know is that if you take up this program within 3 to 4 months, you can know more than 90% of the people that are talking about Stoicism online just because of some of the information that I'm going to give you. And the other thing to note is that when you talk about Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, when you understand what's really behind their thinking, that is, the original philosophy of Stoicism, then you will understand them even better. Now, here's another way of putting this matter. If you just read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, for example, and I know many people love it, many people read it maybe once a year or more, and some people count how many times they've read it. There are things that are in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations that you will not understand just because you lack the key information. So, the first thing I tell everybody that they should read in Stoicism is Epictetus's Enchiridion, or the Handbook, and Nicholas White's translation, which I just showed you. I believe it's the best translation out there. It's true to the original Greek, and it's very simple, and it's accurate, and the writing is good as well. So what you're going to get in Epictetus's Enchiridion is you're going to get some important principles such as some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. Epictetus focuses on the psychology of Stoicism, and also he focuses on what you are to do. He will give you specific instructions for certain situations. So, for example, if you're ever tempted by something, and we all know why we're tempted by a few things during the week, Epictetus gives us the advice to, first of all, delay. Delay agreeing to that thought that that's a beautiful looking chocolate cake, or I have to have that cake. And that pause is going to be important. He gives more advice after that, more instructions, but check it out for yourself. And here's an important thing about this very slender book. By studying Stoicism for several years, going back into the original Stoics, reading a lot of scholarship on Stoics, and reading all the major works that we have, I have found that this little book covers more and more Stoicism than I ever could have imagined, because I start to see how every little piece of this is connected to something of some importance in Stoicism. And that's a good way of thinking about this book it's very condensed. So, because of that, your first read will not be 100% comprehension. It may not even be 80% of it you get, but it's an important read because it's connected to everything else. Now, I'm going to go with popular opinion for the second book that you should read, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. This is the Waterfield translation. It's the annotated edition, and he has extensive notes in this, a great introduction. But my recommendation to you is forget about the notes the first time. Just dig in and start reading what has fascinated people about Marcus Aurelius for hundreds of years. Now, this book is so compelling for the following reason. Marcus Aurelius gives you his personal account of his struggles to be the good man according to this Stoic ideal. And you could see it in his writings. You could see he's bothered by what other people are doing. He himself is bothered by what other people think of him, and he doesn't like that. And so he touches upon a lot of areas of life that we can relate to. So there is a good deal of Stoic psychology in here. But here are two distinctive things about Marcus's meditations. Number one, he talks about the cosmos a lot. He goes with the Stoic idea that the aim of life is for you to harmonize with your rational nature, the nature of your soul, and the rational nature of the universe. And he does this in several ways. And so you'll see, yes, Epictetus is great for detailed advice and some fundamental principles, but Marcus gives us the bigger picture perspective that every Stoic should cultivate in seeing yourself in relation to the entire cosmos. That's part of what gives Stoics unshakable calm and unshakable confidence. Now, the next book I'm going to recommend is not one written by a Stoic. It's written by a philosopher who is an expert in Stoicism. The book is called Stoicism by John Sellers. He's a philosopher in the United Kingdom. And this book is fantastic because it's very basic and it discusses the Stoic view of the universe, Stoic psychology, Stoic logic, Stoic ethics in the simplest terms possible. And here's why you should read it. Because once you read this, a number of the things that you were puzzling about in Epictetus or Marcus will become clear. You will start to say, oh, I see what Marcus was getting at. And so this little book, which is an introduction to Stoicism, is beautiful in that respect because it covers a lot of ground and gives you a comprehensive view of the philosophy. And I should just say at this point, that's one thing that Epictetus and Marcus do not do. They do not start off with the philosophy of Stoicism, starting from the basics and then building up to the ethics. They start in the middle, so to speak, by talking about ethical applications. Now, the next book that I'm going to recommend to you, this one is going to be a surprise to many of you. And this is going to be one of the things that's going to help you to deliver on my promise, which is you'll know more about Stoicism than 90% of the people. 99 would be a lot. 90% of the people that are talking about Stoicism out there. And this is the Fragments of the Old Stoics. It's in the Stoics Reader, translated by Inwood and Gerson. And we don't have any original work from the original Stoics. I'm talking about Zeno, Cleanthes, Chrysippus, the originators of Stoic doctrine. But you're going to find in these fragments a lot of information about their views on all kinds of things in Stoicism. I'd actually recommend, unless you're really patient, starting with the physics and the logic, to just go to the chapter on ethics because you're going to get a lot of the background, the underlying bits of information that Epictetus is assuming, that Marcus is assuming. So this is the stuff that Epictetus learned as a student, and he taught for the rest of his life. And this is what Marcus Aurelius learned when he was learning Stoicism as a young boy. So the Stoics reader, and I recommend going to the ethics section and not reading it necessarily straight through, but just looking at a page here, a page there, and trying to figure out what's going on, because there is a good deal of detail here, but sadly, there's not much explanation. There are very few arguments that are given here for their positions. They just state what the Stoics believe, and a lot of things will start to make sense with your Epictetus and Marcus readings. That's the main reason to get into it. And like I said earlier, you're going to start to see, okay, I can see where Epictetus got this idea originally from. Now, the last thing I'm going to encourage you to read for this Stoic reading program is Seneca's Letters from a Stoic. This is translated by Gamir. And this book, as opposed to Epictetus's, is not dense. It's not concentrated. The form of it is a series of letters that Seneca is writing to his friend about life, about wisdom, about fear, about traveling, and it is quite wide ranging, and it does get into a lot of everyday issues. For my taste, I would say there's a good deal of it that's taken up too much with communicating to his friend and not enough just getting into what the Stoic doctrines are. I'm a philosopher, so that's my bent, but you might like it, and so you might want to read it all the way through. It's over 400 pages. It's a thick book, and I would recommend that if you say, well, someone writing letters to his friends, that is kind of interesting, but I just want to learn more about the Stoic doctrines, I would recommend not reading it straight through, but picking and choosing the topics that are in the table of contents and then just bouncing and moving around and then covering the book that way. Now, that's my Stoic reading program. And this is just the start, because guess what? If you get to the point where you're looking at the Stoics reader, you're looking at Seneca's letters, and you feel like, no, I do want to read this whole book. This is really fascinating. By that point, you're going to be hooked. And yes, there is more information about what to read next, but this video is just about getting you started, and in the shortest period of time, maybe 3 or 4 months, having the most solid starting to really understanding Stoicism that anybody could possibly recommend. That's my goal for you. Like it, subscribe it, give me some comments, and we'll see you in the next video.